Hello lovelies, welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy the next video. I hope you see something that you like, that you learn something that you want to try, or that you have questions that you would want to do the research and see if it's something you want to do. Alrighty, enjoy the video.
Hello lovelies, I'm about to turn this piece of wood into a clock. I'm going to use the epoxy method. So my first step is to spray paint it. And you can spray paint yours any color you want to, but I'm going to spray paint it black. Okay, as you see, I've painted the board, the wood, spray painted it black. I may sound a little muffled because I have on my mask and gloves. Make sure you wear your PPE when you're dealing with epoxy resin. So it's a two-part epoxy, and mine is equal parts of each. So I'm going to pour in 4 ounces of part A and B. And this is a guesstimate. And the reason why I say that, because I've never did this before, this particular image. So I kind of based it on one of those football TV tables, and I used 8 ounces for that. This is a little small, but it's thicker, so it's better to have more than enough than not enough. Okay, that looks to be about 8 ounces. So what I need to do is mix this together for about 5 minutes. Or is it 3 minutes? It's been a minute since I worked on it. I'm going to do 5 because, like I said, it's better to have more than not enough. So, instead of having you here watch me stir this up, I'm just basically stirring it. You can't see down there. Okay. I'm just basically stirring it in one. Alexa, give me a 5-minute timer.
5 minutes, starting now.
I'll stir it in one direction. Then I'll go back and stir it in the other direction. I'll make sure I clean off my stick and get around the sides to make sure that both parts are equally mixed. Trying to clear off a finger so I can pause my camera, and I'll bring you back when it's finished. Okay, I have about 30 more seconds on my timer. Ooh, this thing wear your hand out. My hand's tired. You realize how much time a minute or two is when you have to do something consecutively for that long. Whew. My hand get ready to get a cramp in it. Alexa, stop. Okay. So that is that. Okay, so what I'm going to mix in my clear epoxy is some mica powder. Just a little bit to give it, oops, am I just spilling it on the floor? Just a little bit to give it some shimmer, some sparkle, like diamonds. A little bit more. Okay, that should do it. It's called Super Sparkles by Nurture Soap. Alrighty, let me mix that in. Okay, and I got 2 cups right here because I want to add 2 colors, white and silver. So I'm going to pour some in here. And pour some in there. And I probably should have opened this up before I put my gloves on. Let me take these gloves off. I'll just unscrew it. Pour some silver in there. Let's see if that little dab will do it. And that's acrylic paint. Mix that together well so it all can be the same color throughout the design. And that is metallic gray acrylic paint. And this one is white. Let me shake this up. Because sometimes white, like they add an additive to it and it separates when it sits on the shelf. Alrighty. Okay, that should do that. And a touch bit more white. Okay, that should do it. And I have about a 35 to 40 minute work time with the epoxy before it starts setting up. Okay, let me move that to the side. That's kind of translucent. Let me add a little bit more gray because I want the gray to pop. Okay. I tried to find alcohol inks and I just couldn't find them when I went to the store. So I had to get this, go to Plan B. And if this doesn't work, then I'll add the paint directly to the canvas. All right, let's go. So what I'm going to do is, I wanted to stick something in the middle. And I forgot that I have a rubber piece, a silicone rubber piece. But I don't know what I did with it. And I forgot to look for it. And I have this sitting on some cups and it's leveled. You want your object to be leveled because the epoxy will run and it will go into, if your object is not leveled, then it's going to run to one side. That's what I'm trying to say. And that is that. And hopefully that piece of parchment paper won't give me no trouble when I try to pull it off. And then after I do this and add a little design to it, I'll let it sit for 24 hours. And then I'll come back and add a flood coat. Let that sit for 24 hours. And then I'll add my numbers on top. And make sure I get my sides. Don't want the top to be shining and the sides not shining. So I'm just adding some on my hand and rubbing around the sides. And it looks like I have just enough. I probably could have added a little more, like 8.5. Because right here is kind of dry. So I'm just going to go on my board and pick up some and make sure everything is smooth. Now that right there, that could be done. That could be it right there. And I could just put my numbers on there because, whew, the way that mica is helping that stuff shimmer, oh my goodness, that looks so good. Okay, now there is no rhyme to reason on my design. I'm just going to add some of this throughout. And then I'm going to blow it with my heat gun and see what it gives me. Okay, that looked good just as it is for that point. Now I'm going to get the blowtorch. And I could have added less epoxy in these cups for the white and the gray and left more of the clear. Duly noted. You see, that didn't take long at all. Right now, I'm just going around and popping any bubbles. I think I got the wrong heat gun because this ain't pushing nothing. And I got it on, that's on high. That ain't pushing nothing. And that should be pushing my colors around. Let me see if I can find my other heat gun. Oh. That is my heat gun. Okay, my blowtorch. It needs another burner. Okay, right now I'm just concentrating on getting any bubbles out, any air bubbles. So I may have to go old school with this and pick this board up and lean it to the side, left and right, so that my colors can blend a little better than that. And for real, the way this board is shining, I can't even tell if it got any air bubbles in there or not. Let me get another pair of gloves. And hopefully you can hear me because I'm just walking and talking. And I know it's hard to hear me with the mask on. And so when I walk away from the camera, I'm making it harder. There was a spot over here that didn't have any epoxy on it because I could still see the dry board. So we're going to remedy that by putting some white and gray on it. But like I said, and I can't even see it from this end because the light is shining. See, I don't like them little dots. Okay, I'm gonna pick it up And I don't know if you can see it, but the color is running. The color is running. That's what I wanted. I wanted some waves. So note to self, order yourself a new heat gun. And all I'm doing is tilting it left to right, up and down. And that's giving me waves. It's giving me waves. And yeah, so I'm gonna go around the side with this color because it's dry on the sides. Like I said, I should have not put so much of the epoxy in them little cups, because I could have, guess what, added some more later if I needed some more coloring. Okay, I see a dry spot right here. No problem. Wherever I see dry spots, I'm just going to add some colorant. I'm loving the way it looks. You see how I created them waves just by picking up the piece of board and leaning it left to right? And it's okay if my sides, if they're still dry, because like I said, tomorrow, after this has dried for 24 hours, I'll come back and put a clear coat on top. I won't add any additives. I won't add no mica, no colorant, nothing. I'll just have epoxy part A and part B. And that's basically it. She is done. I am happy with that. I think that looks so good. So good. I want to add a little gray over there. So, like I said, if I don't like the way that gray was looking, then I'll add the color directly from the bottle. But I want to see if I got any dry spots first. A dry spot right here. Let me add some white. I lost it. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's looking good. Okay. I think I got all my dry spots. So I'm going to come back around. Take my gloves off again because they messed up. I need another popsicle stick. Because all the other ones have epoxy on it. Let's see if I can get a couple of drips. That's all I need is a couple. Come on. Okay, that should do it. That was a big old blob. And I'm just running this through. And I really didn't have to do this. but I wanted a little more gray in there. I'm going to put the heat gun on it again. I think I'm going to have to pick that up again because it's too thick. And let me pop in the air bubbles first. Because that looked like a big old blob. I think I remember what happened to my heat gun. I think I dropped it. And as a result, it don't have that power no more because that thing used to blow. Now it's just acting like an old hair dryer. Yeah, this right here, I don't like that. It looked like a 2-year-old was finger painting. Ooh, these gloves are tight. I know my hands ain't get bigger. All right, let's see if I can get some movement right here. I may need to add some. To get it running. Because it's too thick. You know how you just keep on adding and keep on adding and you tell yourself you should have stopped 5 minutes ago. I should have stopped 5 minutes ago. Okay. Now we get some running. It's still too thick. Okay, that's better. That's better. Shrub the sides. Yeah, that's better. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. That is a lot better than that blob that I had at first. Sometimes you just have to use your finger. I'm going to take the rest of this and rub it around the sides. Okay, and that's another way that you can tell that your epoxy is saying, hey, I'm done with you. It gets warm. It gets warm. Warm to the touch. And that's where it's at. It's warm to the touch. So, I'm just going to smooth out the sides. And I'm going to leave her alone. Get underneath. Now I got to get up close and personal to make sure I don't have any dry spots. Because like I said, it's hard for me to see with the light shining on it and the sparklies inside. But it looked good to me. Okay. So I let that dry for 24 hours. Come back and hit it with a clear coat. Hit it with a clear coat. Let that dry. And then I'll put my numbers on it. Look at that sparkle. That don't make no sense. Look at that. Look at that sparkle. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love working with epoxy and alcohol inks or acrylic paint, but I prefer alcohol inks because alcohol inks are thinner than acrylic paint. And what happened right here, when I added that when I added the acrylic paint directly on top, it was too thick. It was too thick. It didn't have enough epoxy to back it up. But with alcohol inks, you can add that on top because it's not thick. But anywho, I love how she turned out, and I can't wait to put my numbers on here. Alrighty. So I'm gonna let this dry and I'll bring you back. Okay, I am back the next day. I have already mixed my epoxy equal parts A and B. 4 ounces of A and 4 ounces of B. I've stirred it up. I didn't add anything into it. So this is considered my flood coat or my final coat. And I'm just going to pour it on top. And this will seal the deal. And I can't wait to hang it. Make sure I get my sides so they can be as smooth as the top. Okay. Ooh, I wish you could see that shine. I need to put a light on it to make sure that I got the entire clock covered. Let's see here. I need some right up there in that circle. But let me go around the whole and some right there. That's about it, right there in that circle. So let me take my light, let me get some more gloves. Put these on, because them other ones, them blue ones are too tight. Take longer to put them on. Let's see if I can. Okay, here we go right here. And around the circle. Some right here on the edge. And you can see that with the light. Make sure we got it all around. And then after I make sure that everything is covered, I'm going to hit it with my heat gun to bust any bubbles. Oops, I didn't mean to put none down in that circle. I definitely don't want to seal that hole, so I need to put my piece of parchment paper in there. Okay. Make sure it ain't touching the board. Okay. Now let me see what I can see with the light. Make sure I got everything on this board covered. Everything looks to be covered. Okay, now I'm going to get my heat gun, and I don't need to say gently because like I said, I dropped my heat gun, so as a result it doesn't have that full force, so it will gently blow. Uh-oh. Okay, this is just going to pop any air bubbles. And you don't want to stay in one area too long or you will scorch your epoxy. And go this way. And come back. And that's that. I'm going to look at it again with the light. That thing is looking so pretty. I think I'm going to take this out. I just wanted it in there while I was hitting it with the heat gun, because that could push the epoxy and I didn't want it to run. Okay, that is it. So I'll let this sit for a day, 24 hours. And then tomorrow, I probably have to sand the bottom, because I'm sure, even though I'm coming in here periodically and scraping underneath, I'm sure I'll have some dried up epoxy underneath. So I'll use a sander and sand that off to smooth it out. And then I'll put on my numbers in the clock mechanism. And she will be good to go. But look at that. Look at that finish. Gorgeous. Alrighty, I'll bring you back for when I start putting the numbers and stuff on.
Okay, it's completely dry and I completely love it. Now I'm trying to dry fit my numbers and the other bling around the board before I permanently put them on there. I want to make sure everything is centered, everything is spaced correctly. So this is how it's going to look. So after I glue this down, I'll put the hand mechanism in there. But I love the way that is going to look. So I need to get my tape measure out to make sure that I have the appropriate distance between here and from there, as well as between the numbers. And I'll bring you back. Okay, I think I got everything mapped out how I want to place it. I have my liquid fusion. I put some in a cup. And I'm going to use a popsicle stick to hopefully apply it appropriately. I have tape marks around the board, so hopefully I will place everything back in place the way I picked it up, but I'm sure that I will probably yeah. And these numbers have a sticky backing on it, but I want to make sure that it really sticks, so I'm using liquid fusion. So let's see how this goes. And before I press it down, I want to make sure, hurry up, that it is in place. Okay. That is in place. Oh, I bumped the table. probably should have pulled that up. Oh, I'm making a mess on my first number. I probably should have took this off. Let me pull it up because I'm just bumping all them out of place. Okay, note to self. It has a protective covering on top, and it's kind of tacked down really good. So I should have pulled that off first before I applied it on the board. Okay, now I can press it down. I got some glue in here. All right, let go my finger. As a matter of fact, before I go around the whole board, I'm going to let that sit there for about 30 minutes to make sure that this glue is strong enough to adhere onto this epoxy board. So I'll bring you back. Okay, now the glue held that number very well. I put some on here, and maybe it needs more time, but it's still, I can move it. So what I may have to do for these is use some resin and put it under the UV light. So I'm going to continue around the clock and put the numbers on. But this time, I'm going to remove all of the tape so I won't be moving the board and all the other stuff. So I'm going to put the numbers down first. Apply some of this liquid fusion. Okay. Before I press it down in place, make sure it is 1/4 of an inch away from the board. Got a little glue on there. Alrighty, press it down with my tissue so we can stop up any extra glue. Wipe around it just in case any glue tried to spill out. Okay. All right, let go my finger. Okay. Let's see if I can get this on there straight. one a little hard. That one needs to be pushed over. Okay, that is on there. Now the last number I have to put down is the 12. Okay. Too much glue. Where is my tape at? Okay, the number 2. That thing's sticking to my finger. Take some of the glue off. Okay. Now this gonna be the tricky part. Is to have this leveled and not too close to the one. Something look funny about that too, but I can't see it from that side. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna give this one about 30 more minutes to dry, and if it doesn't dry, if it's still, like I can move that, it's still movable, and then I'm gonna use resin. As a matter of fact, let me go find my resin. Okay, let's see if this UV resin do the trick. I'm curing it for 60 seconds. See what that gives me. There, I can sit it on top. Yeah, make sure it's not on top of the embed. And that way I ain't got to hold it. I'm going to hit it for another 60 seconds. This is the UV resin that I'm using. Light cure. Most of my stuff done stuck to the cardboard, so I guess all I got to do once I finish is roll the cardboard up and throw it away. Let's see what this 120 seconds give me, the 2 minutes. Hopefully that'll be the trick. Wow, that did it. That did it. I'm going to go down for another 60 seconds just for sure. That thing is stuck. I will be here all night long waiting on that glue to dry. And it may never dry. All right now, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So, you see the process that I'm doing? I applied that liquid fusion on the numbers. And after I thought about it, I really didn't have to because they have a really strong adhesive on the back. But I wanted to make sure that they stuck on there like glue. But the glue wouldn't penetrate this metal. So I'm going to continue on around the board with the liquid fusion, the UV resin. And then once I'm finished, I'll hold the board up so you can see how it sparkles. I'll bring you back.